Welcome to Is Your Way in Your Way podcast, where your host, Cassandra Crawley Mayo, helps you break free from obstacles and live life on your terms. Get ready to embark on a journey of self-discovery, empowerment, and inspiration. Tune in as we dive into captivating conversations with experts and explore topics that will ignite your passion and drive. Are you ready to unlock your full potential? Let's dive in.
That's also the name of my book. It's the Is Your Way in Your Way. It's a self-discovery guide for women on how to restore yourself, learn from the experiences that you've had, and start becoming your true self. And this podcast is actually about empowering women to unlock their full potential. There are a lot of things that kind of stop us. We get stuck. We know there's certain things that we should be doing, but we just can't seem to get out of them. For example, like in maybe a toxic relationship, you may want to write a book. You may want to be a coach. May want to change jobs. It's just a number of things that's preventing you from what I'm calling living your best life on your terms. And we talk about topics related to instances like self-improvement, personal improvement, just something that I always am prayerful that there will be something on this podcast, one of my podcasts, that will give you like an epiphany. And you're just like, you know what? I can do this. Today, I'm going to stop the madness and I'm going to start living my best life on my terms, because many of you know what that looks like. You just haven't executed it yet. And my special guest today name is Blake Lefkoe, and we're going to talk about breaking free from limiting beliefs. I am super excited about this because I have and had so many limiting beliefs, and that's why it took me forever to write a book, and that's something that I always wanted to do. So let me introduce you to. Hello, Blake Lefkoe. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, I am so glad you are on, girl. Um, hey, before I brought Blake into the orange room, this is the orange room, I was telling her about some of my limiting beliefs, and she was like, well, hey, why don't you book a session with me? So this will be very interesting. So as we go through this process in this podcast today, this is something that you may want to do as well, because I believe many of us have limiting beliefs. So Blake, before we delve into our questions, I want to share with the listeners a little bit about your background. I want to give them a little history on you so they can say, so what qualifies her to do what she's doing? So let me just read a little bit. Blake is dedicated to helping people transform their lives by breaking free from the beliefs that hold them back. She is a facilitator of the Lefkoe Method, a powerful process that was developed by her father that helps people eliminate beliefs that keep people stuck in their unwanted emotional and behavioral patterns. After going on her own transformative journey, overcoming addiction and rediscovering the method, she's now passionate about guiding others to live healthier, happier lives aligned with their true passion and values. From helping clients break unhealthy patterns to creating a life of fulfillment for herself, she is here to share her wisdom on living authentically and with purpose. So let's again welcome Blake. Welcome again, Blake.
Thank you, Cassandra.
Yeah. Hey, listen, before you started the Lefkoe Method, and we'll talk about what that is and where that came from, what was your life like? What was your backstory?
So as a child, I grew up in a house with two parents that were in the personal growth, personal development field. And that was just the conversation at dinner. And that was what they did. They both worked in the house. And I kind of just do what a lot of children do when they're brought up in something. And I just kind of rebelled against it. And I was like, well, I'm not going to look at my stuff. I'm just going to go out and live a really fun life. And that kind of fun, hedonistic life eventually turned into an unfulfilling, unsustainable life. The drinking and the partying became just more a part of life. It became more of a darkness than a light. I woke up in my late 20s. I was a single mom, just getting out of another silly relationship, just unsustainable, not healthy. And I was bartending and I was drinking a lot. I was, just not taking care of myself, not taking as good care of myself as I could have been. And I literally woke up one morning and I was going through a breakup and my back was out and I couldn't be in the ocean, what really brings me the most joy. And I was hungover, been on this bender, and I was like, I just can't do this anymore. Like, I'm unfulfilled. This is unsustainable. I deserve better. My kid deserves better. And I started a process to transform my life. And one of the main tools that I used was the Lefkoe Method. And I was so fortunate that I had this tool available to me. Yeah. And I was able to start working on myself. And through eliminating beliefs, I was able to break free of these patterns. I got sober. I got out of the restaurant industry after 3 decades, which is not the easiest thing to do. Yeah. I was able to take all the trainings and get certified and start my own business. And I do something now that is just immensely fulfilling. I get to help other people on their journeys and on their paths and find what they love doing and how they're able to have more of it in their life and to break free from the things that they're doing that aren't working and they want less of. And have been able to find a balance, which is something that I never even understood. I was able to try and have, but a balance of working and being in the ocean and having time with my son and having time for myself and taking care of myself and doing my work and really finding a healthy balance that works for me.
Now, do you call that, is that this thing they call work-life balance?
I would imagine so, yeah.
So tell us what work, because we hear work-life balance all the time. I remember working and I was burnt out and I was like, I just need some work-life balance. How would you define that?
I make sure that I have time to get in the ocean almost every day. And depending on because I do wind sports and then I do sports where you don't want wind. So I look at the forecast and I'm able to schedule my sessions throughout the week according to the ocean conditions. I'm able to be off work when my son gets home from school. I'm able to drive him to every baseball practice and every baseball game. I'm able to have time for my partner. Start my sessions, at 8:30 in the morning. So I have time to stretch and do like a morning routine that, works for me. And it's been really incredible to just find balance in general, to learn when, today I've got, some more people wanted to see me. So I'm going to have more calls and I'm going to skip those today. And then tomorrow I'll take a little extra time, whatever that looks like. Just having time to everyone and every part of me that needs time and energy in my life to have that for them.
Yeah, Blake, now, when I first said that, this is for women, it's all about, unlocking those barriers that's preventing individuals from living their best life. How do you help your client figure out what that looks like? Like you talked about the balance and how, like, for example, when you were bartending and drinking and, that was probably all part of what you're doing today. I'm sure that had a lot to do with why you pivoted and started doing what you're doing. How did you know what your best life looked like? Because listening to you, you sound like you are living your best life right now on your terms. So how did you know what that was? And by the way, audience, she lives in Hawaii. So that's why she's able to go out there and surf and get in that ocean, and which is a beautiful place. So tell us, how is one able to figure that out?
Yeah. So when my clients come to me, we first establish a pattern. So whether
Mhm.
it's a behavioral or an emotional pattern, right? So what's something you're doing you don't want to be doing, something you're doing that you want to be doing that you're not. There can be anxiety,
Mhm.
fear, like you were talking about toxic relationships. Oh, I want to write a book, but I can't sit down. Oh, I want to do this, but I'm not. I'm working all the time. I keep saying I want to work less, but I don't. So
Yeah.
whatever that pattern looks like.
Okay.
And once that's really established, we look at what are the beliefs that contribute to that pattern. So
Okay.
a really good example of that is procrastination. Which is a very common pattern that people come to me with.
Yeah.
So oftentimes when people procrastinate, they have beliefs like, I'm not good enough. Nothing I do will be good enough. Mistakes and failures are bad. If I make a mistake, I'll be rejected.
Mhm.
Beliefs like these. And then we go through this process and one at a time actually eliminate the beliefs. And it's so profound because there's no tricks. There's no, I have to remember to think this way, or I have to switch my perspective, or I have to remember this tool or this skill, or I have to catch myself. Like you're literally nullifying the triggers. The beliefs actually go away. And
Hmm.
sometimes clients will be like, no, I know that's not true because, this and that, or, this and, but if you have to convince yourself that you don't have a belief, you have it because people don't wake up and have affirmations in the morning that think they're beautiful. You don't have to tell yourself I'm beautiful if you think that. It's for
Right.
them.
Okay.
So anytime you're putting energy towards talking yourself out of a belief, telling yourself it's not true or why, on some level you have that. And when that
Okay.
belief goes away, there's no more energy spent
Mm.
talking yourself out of it because it's
Uh,
gone. It doesn't exist anymore.
Okay.
And so that's one of the really amazing things about this work is it causes permanent, profound changes. And as the
Mhm.
beliefs go away, the patterns just shift organically. You don't have to
Mm.
do anything. And it's wild because sometimes they shift in a way that people don't even realize. Like people will come in, I'm like, oh, how was your week?
Right.
Fill me in and be like, oh, it's good, this and that. And I'm like, did you notice anything? And they're like, no, it was okay. And I was like, well, were you procrastinating? Was it really hard for you to sit at your desk? And they'll be like, no, I actually, I filled my course and I did that advertising and I sent out that email blast and I posted on social media every day for my business and I did. And then all of a sudden they'll be like, oh my gosh, I got so much done.
Oh, wow.
And
Uh-huh.
sometimes it's just so natural that they realize
Realize.
they got to
Yeah.
stop and point out. And they're like, wow. And there are people that also come in and they're like, oh my God, you're never going to believe how much I got done and how easy
Right.
it was. And they couldn't believe it. And it was
Right.
amazing. But
Wow.
the shift, it just happens so effortlessly. And
Mhm.
there's just such beauty in that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that sounds incredible. Listen, now you said your family, they were big on personal growth, and I understand that the Lefkoe method is from your dad. It's your dad founded this. Is that correct?
Yeah. So he created the belief process when I was a child.
Uh-huh.
And my mom kind of he showed it to my mom and she was like, this is why I've been put on this earth. So she's been working with clients for 35 years.
Uh-huh.
They have the Lefkoe Institute. They have courses that teach people how to become a facilitator. They have a certification program.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's really kind of a bittersweet thing for me because when he died, I was still in a really unhealthy relationship. I was still
Yeah.
drinking. I was bartending. I really wasn't doing much with my life.
Right.
But the amazing thing was he had worked on himself so much that he was so proud of me and he trusted that I would do whatever I needed to do to live the life the way I thought it should be lived. And every time my mom would be like, oh, but she's drinking so much and she's this.
Yeah.
Like, just trust her. Just trust her. Like he knew that everything would be fine. And even when it wasn't fine, it was still fine for him.
Okay.
And
Okay.
he just, he really loved me so unconditionally.
Mm-hmm.
It was hard for him
Excuse us. That's my Max, and he wants to come in. And just so you'll know, Blake, my audience, many of them know him because every now and then he decides that he wants to intervene.
Yeah.
So I apologize
No
for him.
Yeah. So he always loved me unconditionally and gave me support. And I wish that I had found this earlier, because it would have been amazing to talk to him about this.
Yes.
There's other processes that he's created. One of my favorite is like a stimulus process. So every time this trigger happens, you feel this emotion. So anytime someone criticizes you, you feel fear. Anytime someone yells at you, you feel guilt, right? Whatever it is.
Yeah.
And there's a really simple process that breaks that stimulus from that emotion and frees you from that. So, just kind of kept creating these processes. And he didn't just walk the walk. Like when he died, nothing triggered him, nothing upset him. He really kind of got to this idea of like, the premise of the work is that events have consequences. Consequences are real, but they don't have meaning, right? Events in and of themselves don't have meaning. When we give them a meaning by creating this belief, that's what causes our emotion. That's what causes our thoughts. That's what causes our behaviors. And he got into this headspace where he was able to just not give things meaning. And they were like, "You're dying of stage 4 cancer." And he was like, "Okay. I don't know anything for sure. I don't know I'm going to die tomorrow. I don't know that I'm going to die in 10 years. Like, it doesn't mean anything. I don't know anything because that is happening. There's consequences. I might feel sick. I might have to do this treatment." He wasn't in denial, but he didn't affect him emotionally. And I remember when he was dying and he looked at me and he was like, "Gosh, Blake, I'm so sorry. It's got to be so hard to watch someone you love suffer and know that they're not going to be here." He was literally dying of cancer, comforting me. Like that, just the energetic kind of vibrational level he had reached. And it was so inspiring. It's so amazing to just see somebody.
Ready to design your dream life? Join Cassandra Crawley Mayo's Create and Design Your Best Life workshop. Break free from self-doubt and obstacles and step into a life of purpose and fulfillment. Click the link in the description to register now. Don't wait. Spaces are limited. Start living your best life today.
Really take this to the extreme and be able to live a life where things just didn't trigger him anymore.
Blake, why do you think, what inspired him to do what he did? Something, I think, maybe triggered that? Like, what was going on?
He was really depressed a lot of his life. My mom was his third wife. He had a really traumatic, hard childhood, grew up in poverty, and I think he didn't remember a lot, but I think he was in foster care for a little while and had a dad who had money and left and just never supported him or his mom. And he was just very needy and depressed. And he got on an airplane one day and kind of took himself through this process that he discovered. And he was able to eliminate a belief and realized, oh my gosh, my depression is a source of my beliefs. And he started getting rid of these beliefs and he was able to, get out of depression. And it was amazing because my life, I could not picture my dad depressed because he was so full of light and life, just wanted to change the world and to help people. So effective. I couldn't imagine him being depressed. And so he was a consultant and he was doing really well and he wasn't home. And he was like, I want to be there to watch my daughter grow up. And when he discovered this process, he threw in the towel and he started his own business. And, in the beginning, starting a business, being a successful consultant, and they went bankrupt and all this craziness. But he was is my path. And he stuck to it.
Yeah.
And he's able to change so many lives. And
Yeah, I asked that because and there are always going to be trials and tribulations in our lives. And I'm under the belief that we get stuck, or we know there's certain things that we want to do, but it's difficult. And a lot, I believe, has to do with our childhood. Our childhood dictates who we are as an adult. And when I say that, I'm like, it has to be something to break that. I want my audience to know, if your dad did it, if you did it, if you were addicted and you were not living a fulfilled life, and you knew it, you got to a point where you were sick and tired, and I know a lot of my listeners are just sick and tired of being in some of these situations that they're in. And that's why this podcast is about, because you don't have to be. And I'm always hopeful that there's someone on here like yourself can talk through that process. And what are some things to mitigate those limiting beliefs?
Sure. So the process that I do is you go back to your childhood, right?
Okay.
So for example, the most common belief that people have in their first session that we work on is, I'm not good enough. So you go back to your childhood, you're 4, 5, 6 years old, and all you want to know is why, right? Why is dad not home? Why is this happening? Why am I being criticized? And we don't have the mental capacity to be like, oh, my dad's an alcoholic and he doesn't have the emotional intelligence, or he's not present enough to treat me this way because he's drunk, or, my dad's working all the time because he's trying to pay for my food and my housing, whatever, right? My dad doesn't know how to show love because nobody showed him love. My dad's shut down, whatever it is. We go, oh, you know what? It's me. I'm not good enough, or there's something wrong with me. We bring home a report card, and instead of saying, hey, great job on the A's, what's happening in math? Math is really hard. How can we support you to do better? You're like, what's wrong? Like, why did you get a C? What's wrong? Why isn't this an A?
Right.
You clean your room and they're like, well, what about the closet? And you go, oh, it's not good enough. I'm not good enough. So whatever that looks like, and it's different for everybody. But once you give those events that meaning, that becomes your truth. Your thoughts, behaviors, your emotions all become consistent with that belief. And through this process, you go back and you realize that those events didn't actually have a meaning, right? And that once you gave it that meaning, then it was your truth and your life was consistent with it. We're able to, because those events aren't happening anymore, right? Our traumas are, for the most part, right, they're in the past, but we're still operating basically as a victim of those traumas, because we're carrying the beliefs we formed from those through our life. And there's beliefs like, I'm not safe, and people feel anxiety, and they're no longer in that abusive household, but they still don't feel safe. Or they're now in another abusive household because they have beliefs like, I'm not worthy and I'm not deserving and relationships don't work and trustworthy, or whatever it is. So by eliminating those beliefs, you literally give yourself freedom from your traumas, from your childhood, from these patterns that you've been living. And when you get rid of the beliefs, the patterns can change, and you can free yourself from those patterns, from those emotions, from that negative talk, that constant, you're good enough and no one's going to like you, and right? And it's just so freeing. Because we're not in that childhood anymore. No one's hitting, no one's screaming at us. We're not experiencing these things, but we still have the emotions because we form the beliefs that we're still carrying with us. And one of my favorite things about this work is, subconsciously as children, we form beliefs like, I'm not good enough. Then what happens is, for example, you get straight A's, you win the spelling bee, you make the all-star team, and you get that affirmation. You get that, oh, good job, honey. We're so proud of you. And you go, oh, I see. The way to be good enough is to achieve. And then that becomes your life. And every time you want to rest, you want to go on vacation, you want to do something, there's that voice in you going, you have to achieve, you have to achieve, you have to achieve, because you feel like your survival depends on it. That's what makes you okay.
Mm-hmm.
You get rid of the belief I'm not good enough. You can get rid of the survival strategy. What makes me good enough is achieving, being successful, having people think well of me, whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean you stop achieving. It means you now have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to do? Right? Like you're saying, living your true self. Like, what is authentic to me? Is it more important for me to go to my kid's baseball game or to have that meeting? And I don't know, there's no right answer, but you are now the freedom to choose. And that survival belief is no longer running you.
Right.
That is just so freeing.
Yeah.
People their lives back.
Yeah. Let's talk about some examples. I'm going to use myself for an example. I've always, for years, wanted to write a book. And I struggled with that. It was like, okay, I don't want people to know about me. I don't want, and it wasn't that, it wasn't about not being good enough, or maybe it is. Maybe you'll say, that's it. I'm like, well, what are they going to say about me? I don't want to put my business out in the street. And what I did was I procrastinated, just like, you talked about it. And also, I'm a perfectionist. Everything has to be just right, and I don't want anybody to see that I didn't do this really good. And it took me, 10 to 12 years. And then one day during COVID, I sat down and I started writing my book. And so I'm not sure how I got over those beliefs. But I'd like for you to tell us how, when you say just change your belief, how do you do that? Do you just say, I'm good enough, or this is going to help other people? Or how do people get out of that conundrum, like over and over and over, that pattern?
Sure. Well, first of all, congratulations. That's amazing.
Thank you.
That's a huge accomplishment. And it's awesome that you were able to, you say, get out of your own way to do that.
Right. Yeah.
So the process is pretty simple. You first establish the belief. And sometimes when people have a really good survival strategy, they're like, no, I don't have that belief. I know I'm good enough.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, okay, well, imagine that, you can't achieve anything. Mm-hmm. Imagine you just have to stay in bed. You can't go to work. How do you feel? And they're like, oh my God, I feel terrible about myself.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So you get people in touch with the fact that they have the belief. You find the source, go back to your childhood, where did that belief come from? And then you come up with alternative interpretations. So what's another way we could explain those events, right? So it could be that I'm not good enough. It could be that my parents didn't go to parenting school and they don't have the skills and tools to parent me an effective way. Could be that they're just parenting me the way that their parents parented them, and it's got nothing to do with me. They would parent any child that way because that's how they parent. Doesn't mean anything about me, right?
Yeah.
If I had a brother or sister, they would probably be treated the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Could be that maybe I wasn't good enough for them, but that doesn't mean I won't be good enough for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Could be that they had unrealistic expectations, and in that house, nobody was good enough, but that doesn't mean I won't be good enough anywhere else, right? Mm-hmm. So you just need to come up with whatever feels good to you, where you're like, yes, that makes sense. That could also be those events.
Okay.
And once you come up with a bunch, you realize that what you said, I'm not good enough, is a truth. It's not the truth. It's one possible interpretation. It's not the only one. And then you kind of imagine going back in time and you're in that event, right? And I can see your dad. I can see your report card. I can see what you're wearing. I can see the room you're in, the furniture, right? You make it very real. You can see it. Where in that event is I'm not good enough, right? What does it look like? Can you show me where it is? Because people think they saw it. And people have this moment where they go, oh my God, you can't see it. All you can see is an event. All you can see is my dad saying something. I can hear his tone of voice. I can hear what he's saying. I can see his look of disappointment. but
Yeah.
I can't see I'm not good enough. That doesn't actually exist out there in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And that for a lot of people is enough. And then do another step where we talk about the no meaning, right? Those events had consequences.
Mm-hmm.
Never invalidate the consequences of anything that ever happened to a child because it's hard. It's scary,
Yeah.
right? They're
Yes.
painful. But you realize that event didn't mean anything. There's nothing I know for sure about you because that event happened. It doesn't
Right.
mean anything about who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Events don't have meaning. They can't make you feel anything. So the feeling was caused by the meaning you gave that event, not the event itself. So you imagine being a child and giving that event a different interpretation. So whichever one you came up with that really resonates, right? So imagine saying, oh, my parents have unrealistic expectations. It's insane to expect a child to be perfect because nobody's perfect, especially not children. We make mistakes. We're learning. We're figuring it out. So imagine, your dad's like, oh, what's wrong with you? How come you didn't get an A? And, you left your shoes in the hallway and you just can't do anything right. And you go, gosh, it is insane that my dad has these expectations of me.
Yeah.
Like, he is just going to be continually disappointed and there's nothing that he can do.
Yes.
To live. Gosh, that's just nuts. He's setting himself up to be displeased constantly.
Wow.
And as you imagine giving the event a different interpretation, the feeling completely shifts. You realize that just because you felt I'm not good enough, that doesn't prove the belief is true.
Yeah.
The interpretation, the feeling changes.
Right.
If you felt it doesn't prove it's true. The feeling came from the meaning you gave the events, not the events itself. That's typically enough. Every once in a while, someone gets a little stuck and we do one more step where I say, imagine you're switched at birth and you grew up in a different house. You are still you. Everything about you is the same. Same wants, same desires, what you like, what you don't like, right? You're you. But you grew up in a house with two super supportive parents. And when you come home with that bad grade, they go, yeah, math is hard. How can we help you? What do you need? Do you need a tutor? What can we do to support you? Because math is hard. Numbers are crazy. Sometimes it doesn't make sense to us. And you clean your room and you go, wow, great job. But I'm going to teach you a trick. When you clean your room and you do this thing, it feels so nice in here, right? Like if you just do this other little thing or whatever it is, you are supported and you're not criticized.
Right.
You're criticized in a way where it's teaching. Hey, let me help you. Let me give you this trick. Let me show you a great way to do this. You do it whatever way works for you, but I'm going to just teach you a little bit because that's what parents are here for. Okay. And as you grow up in this environment, do you still feel I'm not good enough? People say, no, of course not.
Right.
Like, that's the truth about you. If that's who you are, you can't change it. We can't change facts. Can't change the truth about you, right? 2 + 2 is 4. Doesn't matter what language, what color, where it is. We can't change it. It's a fact. But if we put you in a different environment and that belief is no longer the truth, it doesn't even make sense anymore. It'd be a fact about who you are.
Wow.
You're like, no. And then, through one of those 3 steps, it's gone. And you see the shift in people, like their energy changes, their expression changes. I had a client that it was so beautiful. It looked like 10,000 pounds rolled off her shoulders. And she sat up straighter and her whole face changed. And I got all teary eyed. It was just so moving. And she went back into her life after eliminating this one belief that completely shifted how she showed up, what showed up for her, how she interpreted things. Because when we believe we're not good enough, that's what we look for everywhere. Oh, I got fired. There's another example. Oh, I didn't get the job. There's another example. Oh, it talked back to me. There's another example. Husband's mad at me. There it is again, right? When you get rid of that belief, all of a sudden, those things start showing up differently. It's like you take off the glasses of the I'm not good. And now you're able to be like, wow, my kid's really frustrated. He doesn't have the skills and tools to express himself. It doesn't mean that he doesn't respect me because I'm not good enough. He actually feels safe enough in my presence to express himself.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It feels different. Oh, I lost this job. Yeah, maybe there's something better out there for me. Maybe I was stuck here and this is the universe providing me with opportunity.
Yeah.
And when
Okay.
you get rid of these beliefs, you literally create space for other things to show up in your world. And
Wow.
what does show up, you're able to perceive and experience differently.
So how long does it take you to work? And maybe every individual is different because we have these old patterns. And so daily, you probably say, okay, you have to do this every day. You have to think about this every day. When you start saying, I don't know if I can do that, then it's time to shift. You tell your clients, okay, to shift and put a different perspective on it. So in other, how do you sustain what you
once
are?
a belief is gone, it's gone.
Really?
There's no having to remind yourself. There's no, I have to switch my perspective. I have to think about this differently. When you eliminate a belief, it is gone. And it is such a powerful thing to experience.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like there's no integration. There's no, I have to, and I've had clients say, okay, I need a couple weeks to let this settle. And I say, you do whatever works for you, but it's gone. It's not coming back. We can work again next week. There's no, like, your brain doesn't take time to rewire itself. You're just, you're creating new pathways. And sometimes I'll, say, hey, take a day, take two, and then schedule with me. And within a day or two, they're always like, oh my God, yeah, you're right. I want to just work next week.
Wow, that is amazing.
Really incredible thing. Another really incredible thing about this is it's not like therapy. You don't just come back. You know what I mean? 5 sessions for a lot of patterns is enough. You get to where you want to go. You freed yourself from this pattern you're stuck in. People that have a lot of trauma, a lot of patterns, addiction, depression, it takes more. And everyone's different. I've had people with really severe alcoholism, depression, couldn't hold a job, couldn't hold a relationship. And we worked for, I don't even know that we had 10 sessions.
Wow.
And he was drinking and he kept it. And he came in one day and he was like, Blake, I have nothing to work on. Nothing stresses me out anymore. My life is still chaotic, right? I'm like still, but I know that it's going to be okay. And it just doesn't stress me out. Like I don't have to drink. And even like his relationship with money changed. We work on money.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm starting to save money and I'm, this job I would have walked out on, I'm able to stay in and it's not a problem anymore. I'm actually like learning how to enjoy it. And he said he ran into his ex-wife and she didn't even recognize him. She was just like, your energy is so different. You looked different. So, everyone's different. I have a client that we do 5 beliefs a session, easy.
You do 5 sessions?
5 beliefs every session. She comes in and we eliminate 5 beliefs just super fast. And I have one client that's like, I want to do 1 belief and I want to talk a lot and I want to just do this, I want to do that. And I want to do 1 belief and I'm happy and that's enough for me. And I'll see you next week. So everyone's different. But it's not a long-term thing.
Wow. You sound like a miracle worker. I think that is amazing.
And there's always more stuff to work on. Like I have a mentor that, we trade every other week. I work with her. She works with me and you find those little idiosyncrasies and, I'm still feeling stuck here. I'm still triggered by this, or I still feel kind of needy here, or there's resistance here. So there's always more stuff to do. But in terms of the big patterns, like where people are really stuck, you get rid of the beliefs contributing to those patterns and those patterns go away. And I'll have clients that'll reach back out and I'll be like, gosh, I'm experiencing anger with my kids. I'm like, great. Well, let's work on that. And you get rid of, I'm powerless. And what makes me powerful is having people listen to me or being in control.
Wow.
Anytime there's anger, there's a sense of powerlessness there. So you get rid of the sense of powerless and the anger dissipates and you're able to show up differently.
So what you do can create lasting change.
Oh, absolutely.
That is amazing. Oh my gosh. That's incredible. That's incredible. I could let me ask you, are you able to work with your son? Like, do you see things when your son, like patterns that as he gets older may stick, or how?
Yeah. So when I was little,
Yeah.
I think I was, I don't know, 6 or 7 years old. And we went to this carnival and it was really crowded. And a woman put her cigarette out on my arm. And I started crying and she yelled at me and she said, "Watch where you're going." So my parents took me, we left, we went to the parking lot and I was crying, and whatever happened 2 months later, however long, we went to another event and it was crowded and I was terrified. And my parents said, "What's going on?" And I was like, "I don't like crowds. Crowds are dangerous. I don't want to be here." And my dad took me aside and he said, "Okay, where did you get the idea that crowds are dangerous?" And I said, "When that woman burned me with a cigarette." And he said, "Okay, what's another?" And all we did was alternative interpretations. What's another way? Some crowds are dangerous. Crowds where people are smoking cigarettes are dangerous. That specific crowd wasn't dangerous. Something scary happened, but you were actually safe, right? So we just came up with other ways to describe those events. And he said, "So is it the truth that all crowds are dangerous?" And I said, "No." And the fear dissipated and it was gone. And I didn't remember that happened. They told me about it later, but I've never had it with crowds.
Yeah.
So I've done it with my son, not the whole process, not like the no meaning piece, but we were at the bar once and he was like, "Oh my gosh, I always make everybody late for everything all the time." Yeah, I could see how you feel that.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Well, what else?" And I was like, "Do you wear a watch?" He was like, "No." And I was like, "Well, maybe is it possible that when you're younger and you don't have a good sense of time, you make people late for things? But when you get older and you start wearing a watch and you have a better sense of time, that won't be true anymore?" And he's like, "Yeah, totally." And I was like, "And do you make everybody late for things? Like, are your teachers late?" And he was like, "Well, no." And I was like, "And are we late to everything all the time?" He goes, "No, just some things, some of the time." And I was like, "Okay. And what about this? And what about this?" And I was like, "So is it the truth that you make everybody late for everything all the time?" No, that doesn't even make sense.
Wow.
So you can, you can do those little things especially with kids, right? Just give them other ways to hold that. And
Sure.
Enough.
Sure.
Carried a belief for 40 years takes a little bit.
It takes time. Absolutely. Absolutely.
But even some people are like, "Oh, this is so deeply ingrained." And I'm like, "Yeah, you've had it for a long time, but that doesn't mean that we can't get rid of it."
Yeah, that's good.
So it's just something that, when you realize it's not out there in the world, you go, "Oh my God, I can't see it." And then we can't see it out in the world. Where has it been for all these years? Oh my God, it's been in my head. I've been carrying that around with me this whole time.
That's amazing. So Blake, I could talk to you even longer, but we can't. Now, remember in the beginning, I talked about my listeners, and these are for individuals to unlock, their full potential and their stuff. They some may want to write a book, some may want to change jobs, get out of a relationship. Could you, in this short period of time, because then I'm going to ask you how can my listeners get in touch with you, but how can you talk to them to change their perspective? Like, because this is my thing. I know that we're all here for something, for a reason. And it doesn't mean that we won't have trials and tribulations. We will. But I'm so gung-ho about individuals living their life as it was ordained to live. And a lot of people I know based on doing your reading, how in the beginning you were like, well, I wasn't fulfilled. I didn't feel right. And I knew something was wrong, and I would love people to get out of that pattern, to know. Some of them know what it is that they have to do and want to do it, but they're like stuck. How would you talk to them about, as we're wrapping up, about how they could get unstuck? And you can pick a certain thing.
Sure. Well, I have a tool that I can give you. So the most profound way that I have found is just eliminating the beliefs that keep you stuck and you give yourself freedom, right? But a really amazing tool, and they teach a course in this in the Lefkoe Institute. It's called the Occurring Course, and it's amazing. They just call it the Freedom Course. It's such a neat. So the idea is we give everything meaning all the time.
Okay.
Right. So you go to the store and, the woman there doesn't smile at you and you go, oh, God, she's mad at me. I did something wrong. She doesn't like me. And now you're upset, right? Stop when you get upset. And in the beginning, start with little things. Break yourself into the big ones, right?
Okay.
What meaning am I giving this event? I'm giving this. So the event is she didn't smile. That's the event. That's what we can see. That's actually real.
Okay.
What's the meaning I'm giving it? I'm giving it a meaning that she's mad at me or she doesn't like me, right? What else could it mean? Could mean she's having a bad day. Could mean she has a headache. Could mean she's fighting with her husband. Could mean her dog just died. Could mean maybe she is upset with you, but that doesn't mean you're not likable or there's something wrong with you or that you did something wrong, right? It doesn't mean anything.
Right.
And when you realize the meaning you're giving that event is not the truth, it's one possible interpretation, that meaning dissipates and then so does the feeling. And you start doing that with all kinds of things, especially after, right? Sometimes in the moment, it can be difficult. You can train yourself. But when you're in bed at night and you can't sleep because you're like, oh man, that guy cut me off. And he's such a whatever. And that thing you're thinking about that's keeping you awake.
Right.
What meaning am I giving that event? My kid's not listening to me. I'm giving it the meaning they don't respect me.
Yes.
So now I'm angry. Well, what else does it mean? It means they respect me enough to say how they feel. They feel safe enough around me to talk back and to tell me what's going on in their mind. Right?
Right.
Could mean this, could mean that, could mean all these things. Do I know for sure that they don't respect me because of this? No. Doesn't mean anything. And when you can let go of the meaning, the feeling it changes.
Okay.
And you can do it with everything.
Right.
Because the meaning we give events are what cause our emotion. It's not the events themselves. So I'll give you one example, right? You're walking down the street and you see a man. That is the event.
Right.
You give that event the meaning, oh my God, he could hurt me. How do you feel?
Scared.
You feel scared. It is real.
Right.
You walk down the street, you see that same man and you go, oh, there's a big man here. Nobody's going to mess with me because that guy's right here.
Yeah.
You feel safe.
Right.
You walk down the street, you see that same man, you go, man, he's pretty hot. And you feel excited.
Yeah.
You walk down the street and you go, oh, there's a man there. There's no feeling, right?
Right. Yes.
Completely different emotions from the exact same event. It's the meaning we give that event that causes our emotions. Start touching yourself and seeing what meaning am I giving that's producing this negative emotion, and what else could it mean? I got fired. Yeah, could mean I'm not good enough. Could mean there's something wrong with me. Could mean there's something better coming and I was stuck in this job and I would have missed this opportunity.
Right.
Could mean this doesn't actually align with what I'm doing. Could mean a million things. We don't know for sure that it means anything about you.
Right. That's
and
good.
You realize that and you give it a different meaning, that negative emotion just dissipates.
Wow. That's good, Blake. You're helping me too. I feel like, even though you said it's not therapy, but I'm feeling this thing. This is real good. I'm putting myself in some situations that I'm having these limiting beliefs. So that's helping me a lot, and I appreciate it. How
Yeah.
can my listeners get in touch with you? Trying to get on the sun.
So my website and my email are just my name. My email is blakelefkoe@gmail.com. And
Uh-huh.
my website is blakelefkoe.com.
Mm-hmm.
BLAKELEF as in Frank, KOE.
Okay.
And on the website, you can click a link for a free, it says 15 minutes, but they're usually 30, but a free consultation.
Okay.
Tell me what your patterns are, what's going on, how I can help, and anything you want. I can explain
Okay.
how I can help you. You can explain any questions or doubts you have. And it's just time for you, whatever you need in that time.
Okay.
And if
Okay.
you want to book a session, then we go from there. There's also a link to just book an hour session. If
Okay.
then I know I want this.
Right. And listeners, all of this is going to also go in the show notes as well. And I am confident, Blake, that you're going to hear from some people, because I think this session, or I don't want to say session, but this podcast, this type of topic, breaking free from limiting beliefs, is what we all have. We all have limiting beliefs. And if you're sick and tired of them and you're ready to mitigate them so that you can move forward in your life, this is something that individuals need to hear. So
Thank you so much for having me, Cassandra. This has been really fun.
yeah, and I thank you. And something, Blake, I always tell my listeners, bye for now. And also to please share this podcast with individuals that you know that this will bless them. You know that they're stuck because they just can't get out of their way. And this is something that's going to really help them get out of their way. So again, Blake, thank you. And bye for.
Hey, thanks for listening. If you've been enjoying our empowering conversations, make sure you don't miss out on future episodes of Is Your Way in Your Way podcast. Stay in the loop with all the latest episodes. Join our mailing list over at CassandraCrawley.com. And before you go, hit that like button, share with your friends, and subscribe now. Until next time, let's get ready to live your best life.